6 months ago, if you wanted a powerful AI model, you had one option: pay OpenAI. Today, you can run a model that rivals GPT-4 on your laptop, for free, with no API limits, no data leaving your machine, and no monthly bill. The open-source AI revolution didn't just happen, it exploded, and the models driving it are better, faster, and more capable than most developers realize. I'm going to show you the best open-source AI models available right now, what makes each one worth your attention, and exactly how to start using them today. Welcome! Let's start with what open-source AI actually means, because it's more nuanced than it sounds. A truly open-source AI model gives you three things: the model weights the training code, and a license that lets you use it commercially without restriction. That's the difference between a model that's free to use and one that's genuinely free. Meta's Llama models are probably the most famous example: billions of parameters trained on trillions of tokens, and released under a license that lets you build products on top of them. Mistral AI, a French startup, took a different approach. They build smaller, faster models that punch far above their weight class. Their 7 billion parameter model consistently outperforms models 3 times its size. Microsoft released Phi, a family of tiny models designed to run on consumer hardware. Google released Gemma, Alibaba released Qwen, and DeepSeek out of nowhere released models that matched frontier performance at a fraction of the cost. What happened? Open source caught up, and in some categories it pulled ahead. The driving force is the community. Thousands of researchers and engineers worldwide are now fine-tuning, quantizing, and improving these models faster than any single company's closed team can iterate. You benefit from all of that work for free. Let's talk numbers, because the scale of what's happening here is hard to overstate. Llama 3.1, Meta's flagship open-source model, was downloaded over 350 million times in the 6 months following its release. That's not research usage, that's production deployment. On Hugging Face, the GitHub for AI models, the total number of publicly available model checkpoints crossed 1 million in 2025, a million models built by the community for the community. DeepSeek R1, released in January 2025, became the most downloaded model on Hugging Face within 72 hours of launch. It triggered a 17% drop in NVIDIA's stock price because it demonstrated that frontier-level reasoning no longer requires frontier-level compute budgets. For context, training GPT-4 reportedly cost over $100 million. DeepSeek claimed their model was trained for under 6 million. Whether those numbers are exact or not, the direction is clear. The cost of intelligence is collapsing. The average developer now has access to models that would have required a research lab 2 years ago. And the gap between open and closed source models narrows with every release cycle. 2025 is the year open source AI stopped being the good enough option and became the first choice. Let me make this concrete. Here's how open source AI models are changing real workflows right now. Before, if you were building an AI-powered product, you had one serious option: the OpenAI API. You'd pay per token, accept their rate limits, send your users' data to their servers, and hope they didn't change pricing or deprecate your model mid-product. That was the only path if you needed quality. Now the picture is completely different. Developers are running Llama 3.370b locally using Ollama, a tool that makes model deployment as simple as a Docker pull command. Full GPT-4 class capability, zero API costs, everything running on their own hardware. Startups are fine-tuning Mistral 7B on their proprietary data, and deploying it on a single GPU instance for a few $100s a month, instead of the thousands they'd spend on API calls. Enterprises blocked from using cloud AI for compliance reasons, healthcare, finance, government, are now running 5.4 and Qwen on-premise, fully air-gapped, with no data leaving their network. Researchers are studying model behavior, reproducing results, and building on top of open weights in ways that are simply impossible with closed-source systems. The shift is this: AI went from being a service you subscribe to an asset you own. That changes the economics, the privacy story, the product possibilities, and the power dynamics between developers and the companies that used to control access to intelligence. Let me walk you through the 5 highest impact ways developers are using open-source AI models in production today. First, local development without API costs. If you're prototyping an AI feature, you don't need GPT-4. You need something fast, free, and available offline. 5.4 running via Ollama on a MacBook Pro handles code completion, summarization, and question answering faster than an API call, and there's no latency beyond your machine. Second, fine-tuning for domain-specific tasks. The real power of open weights is customization. A legal tech company fine-tuned Mistral 7B on 2 years of contract data and built a clause extraction tool that outperformed GPT-4 on their specific task at 1/10 the inference cost. That's not possible with closed models. Third, on-premise deployment for regulated industries. Healthcare organizations running Llama 3.1 on their own GPU clusters can query patient records with natural language, something they couldn't do with any cloud AI provider due to HIPAA requirements. Open source made this possible. Fourth, multimodal applications on a budget. Gemma 3 supports vision natively and runs efficiently enough to deploy on mid-tier GPU instances. Teams are building document analysis, image captioning, and visual search pipelines at a cost that was impossible 12 months ago. Fifth, experimentation and research. If you want to understand how AI models actually work, how attention mechanisms behave, how fine-tuning shifts capabilities, what happens when you adjust system prompts at scale, you need open weights. Closed models are black boxes, open models are textbooks. The pattern across all 5. Open source removes the ceiling on what you can build and removes the floor on what it costs. Getting started with open source AI is genuinely easier than most people expect. Let me give you the fastest path. Step 1. Install Ollama. Ollama is the simplest way to run models locally. Head to Ollama.com, download the installer for your OS, Mac, Windows, or Linux and run it. The whole thing takes about 2 minutes. Step 2. Pull your first model. Open a terminal and run Ollama pull Llama 3.2. That downloads Meta's Llama 3.2, a compact but capable model that runs on 8 GB of RAM. If you have more headroom, try Ollama pull Llama 3.370B for the full-sized model. Step 3. Start chatting. Run Ollama run Llama 3.2. You now have a local AI assistant with no API key, no account, no usage limits. Everything runs on your machine. Step 4. Connect it to your code. Ollama exposes an OpenAI-compatible API endpoint at localhost 11,434. That means any application built on the OpenAI Python SDK works with Ollama by changing one line, the base URL. You don't need to rewrite your integration. Step 5. Explore Hugging Face. When you're ready to go beyond what Ollama offers, fine-tuning, custom models, specialized checkpoints, Hugging Face at Hugging Face Co. is your starting point. Search by task, sort by downloads, and read the model cards. The community is excellent at documenting what each model is actually good for. Hardware note: most Phi and Mistral 7B models run on a standard laptop. For 70B models, you want at least a machine with 24 gigabytes of unified memory or a cloud GPU instance. The investment is 2 minutes. The upside is AI without borders. The open-source AI landscape right now is the most exciting it has ever been, and it's moving faster than any single company's roadmap. Llama for general-purpose capability, Mistral for efficiency, Phi for edge deployment, Gemma for multimodal, Qwen for multilingual, DeepSeek for deep reasoning. You don't need to pick one. You don't need an API key. You don't need a corporate account. You need Ollama, a terminal in 20 minutes. The developers who learn to work with open-source models now, who understand how to fine-tune, how to deploy, how to evaluate, are building a skill set with compounding value. The tools are here. The models are free. The only variable is how fast you move. If this was useful, subscribe. I cover practical AI tools and workflows for developers every week. Leave a comment with which model you're most excited to try, and I'll see you in the next one.